We have a massive Thunder free agency update as we know for sure a Jalen Williams extension is the next thing in the books for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, when that's going to happen, there's no telling. It took about a week for Chet Holmgren to get his rookie max extension. Do I believe that he deserved the max? His injury concerns are something that I've been thinking about, that maybe, he didn't deserve the max, but his play, yes, 100%. Injuries, though, no. Jalen Williams, though, I believe 100% deserves every single bit of the rookie max extension. No doubt about it in my mind whatsoever. The problem now going into this is, what is a team going to look like financially in the future? Is Jalen Williams going to get the max as well? I'm here to answer all these problems and concerns and questions that you guys may have regarding the Thunder's financial status for the next few years, as these extensions, they're going to cost a lot of money. They will. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive at it in today's video. Before we get into all that though, quick moment to recognize that we're now at 6,090 subscribers for the channel. All right. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys that have been here along for this journey. The growth we've seen over this offseason has been insane and absurd. So thank you guys for the constant support. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead, join one of the fastest growing Thunder YouTube channels out there on the platform. With that out of the way, let's go ahead, get into talking about Jalen Williams, the possible extension, and all the financial problems and worries that us Thunder fans might have. I'm going to tell you right now, do not worry about the team being, financially, unstable and having to do what the Boston Celtics did. All right. The Boston Celtics, they had their top 5 guys making $30 million or more per year. All right. You can't sustain long-term success like that. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were making almost $100 million combined, just those two players. Now, Shai and Chet will be making almost $100 million combined just with those two. Yes. All right. The cap's going to be increasing though to where you can afford that. The Celtics, what they did, they went ahead and handed out with their starting 5, $190 million in those contracts. You can't sustain that. You can't. The Thunder know better. They haven't done this. All right. They haven't. Right now, it's, Shai making $33 million a year, I think. Hartenstein making, $28 million next season. Dub and Chet still on their rookie contracts for one more season. Dort making $18 million. Okay, like it's fine. What the team's doing, it's 100% fine. Alex Caruso, he's going to be making $20 million. Okay, we can afford that. Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, those guys are on good contracts. Jay Will's on a good contract. AJ Mitchell, all these guys, they're on great team-friendly deals. Okay, it's just it gets in the problem with the big three. And Jalen Williams, he has some leverage now if he wants to discuss contracts, if he wants to for sure get the max deal. All right. Jalen Williams and Thunder have momentum towards a rookie extension deal per ESPN. OKC just signed Chet for $250 million and SGA for $290 million. Okay. Like, let's not look at it at straight up, oh, this is the money they're making. You look at it in basis of percentages is what you're supposed to look at it when you're talking about contracts in the NBA. You don't look at it as the $250 million you see right here and then $290 million for Shai. That's not how you look at it. You got to look at it in percentages. All right. Also keep in mind, the cap's going to constantly increase. Right now, for the next cap in the 2026 offseason, the cap's projected to jump up by 7%. The max it can jump up by is 10%, and that is the average. All right, that's what they're expecting it to do every single year. Next season, it's 7% is what they're estimating right now, but it could jump to 10% and be even more in cap space. So the Thunder, they are fine. There's no reason to worry whatsoever. Is Jalen Williams going to get this max? More than likely, yeah. Are you going to have to say goodbye to a player or two? More than likely, yes. You're going to have to say goodbye to a ton of players no matter what. I get as fans, we get emotionally attached to these guys, but you have to realize the organization, you can't just hold on to them. You can't. Sometimes you have to trade away players for the betterment of the team. That happens. That's the reason why a lot of people didn't want to trade Isaiah Joe during the trade deadline for Cameron Johnson, because they were really emotionally attached to the player. All right, I get it. I understand. But do not worry. We're going to be able to keep a core set of guys for this team per Brett Siegel over at Clutch Points. And I believe so too, the more you look into details about the contracts that take place going forward. All right. It is expected that Williams will sign a deal almost identical to Holmgren's new contract, as he is eligible for a 5-year, $246 million deal, according to ESPN front office insider Bobby Marks. With this deal expected to be finalized this offseason, it means Presti and Thunder will have committed close to $800 million in new contract extensions to Gilgeous-Alexander, Holmgren, and J-Dub. These three are the core of Oklahoma City's championship DNA, and the team expects to contend for multiple titles with them in the years to come. Although there are obvious concerns about how the Thunder will sustain success and construct a roster around these young stars, given the implications of the league's apron penalties, Presti has prepared for this. In fact, the Thunder's executive has been making exceptional moves over the last several years to prevent any second apron problems. So, look, right now going to next season, we're still under the hard cap. We are. I say hard cap, the salary cap before going into luxury, second and first apron, all that good stuff, okay? We're still under the cap. After that, we'll be over the cap, but it's not like we're going to be in the luxury. Or we might be over the cap right now. We're not going to luxury. I know that for sure. Presti even said so in a, end of season press conference that, with all the moves they're going to be making, they won't feel the effects of the luxury tax or CBA until the next CBA agreement, which is in 2028. We still got 3 more years before we got to worry about the tax implications and everything that goes into with these contracts. So don't worry about it right now. Worry about it in 2 years when it's about to creep up on us and be like, look, we got to make some room financially now. And, I don't think that's going to be a worry because of some of these players that we have on contract. Brett Siegel even talked about it more in his article, okay? Looking ahead to the 2026-2027 season, that is the year many are questioning how Presti will be able to work his magic with the extensions of Holmgren and Williams when agreed upon kicking in. Between the 3 core members of the roster, Oklahoma City will be paying somewhere between $120 million and $125 million in total, based on the cap projections and estimates for the 2026-2027 season. Plus, factoring in their current contracts out automatically puts the Thunder roughly $17 million below the second apron. This doesn't include Williams' upcoming extension, which obviously temporarily takes Oklahoma City into the second apron. However, as a result of the way Presti negotiated some of his players' contracts, the Thunder will have over $50 million in team options for Hartenstein, Dort, and Kenrich Williams that can be utilized to move under the second apron altogether. Hartenstein's deal, when he initially signed last offseason, was viewed as a short-term move for Oklahoma City. I know a lot of you guys are going to hate me in the comment section and tell me you got to keep Hartenstein. When Hartenstein was signed to this deal, he was not projected to be someone that would be with the team for more than 3 years. This is only if Dub didn't make an All-NBA team, Chet didn't make an All-NBA team, and, you could save some money on those guys. You lose, in the finals. You don't win a championship while he's on the first 2 years, and you pick up the team option. Now that you won the championship and you have a good chance of going back-to-back, you probably decline that team option, especially if these big contracts going in for Dub and Chet. More than likely, this is Hartenstein's last season as a member of Oklahoma City Thunder, unless he's willing to take a $15 to $20 million pay cut, and no one is taking a $15 to $20 million pay cut. No one is. All right? Plain and simple. Plain and simple, that's not happening. So this is more than likely Hartenstein's last year, and then also Kenrich Williams' last year. Dort, it's questionable. It is very questionable. I want to keep Dort. He's my favorite player on the Thunder, all right? It's very questionable if he can stay with the team, though. Going to the last portion of the article, though, all right, that I know you guys are going to go ahead and go in the comment section and talk bad about Hart potentially leaving, but that's more than likely happening. Even when the Thunder ultimately see a higher tax bill and are forced to go in the second apron, they will already be well into their championship journey. This isn't going to happen for at least 4 years, and by then, Oklahoma City could have multiple championships with their core of Gilgeous-Alexander, Holmgren, and Williams. It is hard to say what will happen then since it's so far in the future, but the one thing that is certain about the Thunder is that they can sustain success now and for many years to come while remaining below the dreaded second apron. With plenty of young talents developing behind the scenes and the ability to continue drafting high-level talents, the Thunder aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Plain and simple, they aren't. Okay, we can go and take a look. This is the breakdown pretty much of what the article talked about and what's going on. Okay, while some tend to think the second apron is going to eat the Thunder alive, think again. Taking Chet and SGA's extensions into account, OKC is about $17 million from the second apron for the 2026-2027 season, and they have team options for Hartenstein, Dort, and Kenrich Williams. While tough roster decisions will need to be made, Sam Presti has this team in a position where they can save money around easily and replace players with young talent. Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, and Aaron Wiggins could take over for Dort, even though I don't want Dort gone. This is very, likely that to happen. You choose between Caruso and Dort. Who is going to have the better impact next year? I think whoever plays better next season is the guy that Presti's willing to keep. Jay Will and Thomas Sorber will eventually take over for Hartenstein. I agree with that as well. Not to mention, Presti has a handful of draft picks to play around with. The Thunder have options and plenty of flexibility, remain below the dread tax apron, even with SGA, Holmgren, and J-Dub extension. So as you can see, all right? The Thunder are going to remain below the tax. I say below the tax, below the second apron, and below the entirety that they have to. Will they have to go in the apron at some point? Yes. All right. There are ways that they can get around it, though. Is that, going to have to say goodbye to some fan favorites? Yes. You're going to do that a ton, though. Kristaps and Jrue Holiday were fan favorites in Boston. I know this because I was there during their title runs and while they had them. Kristaps Porzingis was one of the favorites for the city of Boston and the fan base. Okay? He was. They had to say goodbye to him because sometimes that just happens. It does. If you want to keep their core three guys, they figured out their core three is Derek White, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. You're going to have to sacrifice some of these guys that the fans love. That's the unfortunate truth about the NBA. So the sooner we get that in our heads as a fan base, the better off we will be for the future. And I guarantee you, in Presti we trust. Keep that in your mind. If that means Caruso's gone, Caruso's gone. It's for the betterment of the team. Keep that in mind. When has Presti ever did something to harm the team? When has he ever done something to potentially, intentionally go out there and be like, yeah, let me screw over the fan base? No. He has drafted very well. He has brought in great talent. Just trust what Presti is going to do the next few years. Plain and simple. Okay? Like I said, if that means saying goodbye to some fan favorites like potentially Dort, Alex Caruso. I know Kenrich Williams is a fan favorite, even though he's not making a ton of money. I say Hartenstein has quickly become a fan favorite, but he was always a short-term deal. You have to come to realization that some of these players might just be gone in the future. But if it means we're going to win more championships and not have to blow the whole thing up, I think it's for the betterment of the team. That's all I got for this video. Let me know, all right, honestly, are you super worried still after this video if the team can still sustain long-term success with these max extensions that they're giving out? Let me know in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video.